Guten Tag, Klasse. Heute lernen wir Futur II. Es ist in Kapitel 3 auf Seite 45 im Heft. Back in Chapter 2a, you learned about the future tense, which was called the Futur I. So that was sentences like, ich werde meine Hausaufgaben machen. So the Futur I was saying, I will machen at the end, I will do my homework. Although it's rarely used, German also has a future perfect tense called the Futur II. We saw this in the Fotoroman. Bis zum Ende des Tages werde ich mit 4 weiteren Künstlern gesprochen haben. So by the end of the day, I will have spoken with 4 further artists. Die werden dann auch deine Kunst gesehen haben. They will then have seen. So we are going to learn how to create this Futur II tense. You use the Futur II to indicate that an event is expected to have happened by or before a particular point in the future. So I made a couple example sentences down below that are a little simpler than the ones from the book here. Your typical past tense is something like, ich habe den Brief geschrieben. So I have written the letter. Well, we want to change this to be in the future, to say that it will have happened before a particular time. So instead of saying I have written, I'm using werden to say I will, and then habe gets moved to the very end of the sentence, and it's not your main verb anymore, so it doesn't need conjugated, so it's going to go back to its infinitive form at the end. So far you have I will have. The past participle stays the same, geschrieben, so I will have written the letter. The examples we get from the book, ich arbeite an einem Brief, den meine Chefin heute Nachmittag abschicken will. So if you're telling someone I am working on a letter that my boss wants to send this afternoon, now to use this in the future perfect, bis heute Nachmittag, by this afternoon, werde ich, I will have written the letter. So like we saw in the examples on the previous slide, you use the present tense form of werden with the past participle of the verb that expresses the action, plus the infinitive of haben or sein at the end to say that you will have done something. The example we used on the previous slide used haben, just like this example the book gave us. Wir werden Urlaub genommen haben. We will have taken. Urlaub is a vacation or time off. But sometimes your verb is a transitive verb, a verb of motion of some kind. So this is other example from the book, Hans wird im Büro geblieben sein. So Hans will have stayed at the office, im Büro. So bleiben uses sein as the helping verb. So we have sein at the end instead of haben. So here's an example of a past tense, ich bin nach Berlin gegangen. So I have gone to Berlin. If you wanted to say I will have gone to Berlin, well, gegangen, as we saw here, is ich bin, not ich habe. So it uses sein as a helping verb because it's a verb of motion. So, ich werde, I will, sein at the end, and gegangen right in front of it. I will have gone to Berlin. Ich werde nach Berlin gegangen sein. It's helpful in the Futur II to be able to give kind of a time frame for when something will have happened. So what you're going to use is bis, which means by. So we have a couple examples here. Herr Mauer wird bis morgen die Arbeit beendet haben. So we will have completed the work. Bis morgen is by tomorrow. So we start our sentence with the subject, which is Herr Mauer, then a verb, and then we add our time expression, by tomorrow. Other options here is that Germans like to have time as soon as possible, so you can flip-flop these and put the subject after the verb to move time first. Bis morgen wird Herr Mauer die Arbeit beendet haben. Here's a couple more examples that I made at the bottom. Wird bis Freitag die Hausaufgaben gemacht haben. So he will have done the homework bis Freitag, by Friday. And again, if you wanted to, you could move time to be first and flip-flop it with the subject. Bis Freitag wird die Hausaufgaben gemacht haben. Another example, du wirst bis Juni die Schule fertig gemacht haben. So you will have finished school by June. So bis Juni, by June. And again, you can flip-flop your time and your subject to put time first. Bis Juni wirst du die Schule fertig gemacht haben. So really you can put any kind of time frame after bis for by tomorrow, by next week, by next summer, by winter, by fall, by the time you're 35. So pretty much any kind of time frame could be used with these. After you express that time frame in a sentence, you can even provide more detail to say how likely it is that something has happened or will have happened by that point. You can use words like wohl, wahrscheinlich, schon, or sicher. Peter wird wahrscheinlich heute gekündigt haben. Peter will probably have quit today. Bis nächste Woche wird wohl eine neue Stelle gefunden haben. By next week, he will probably have found a new job. Here's an example I made. Ich werde bis nächste Woche sicher gekündigt haben. So I will certainly have quit by next week. And just like before, I can take that time expression and put it first and flip-flop it with the subject. Bis nächste Woche werde ich sicher gekündigt haben. Since the Futur II was in Unit 3b, let's look at your 3b verb slides. One of your verbs was arbeitslos sein, the sein part of that being the verb. Arbeitslos sein means to be unemployed. So whenever we do the Futur I version of this, you're saying, my brother will be unemployed. Well, Futur II is saying will have been. So we're taking the past participle of sein, which is gewesen, and sein uses itself as the helping verb. So my brother will have been unemployed. Here's another one of our verbs, entlassen, to fire. The Futur I, we're taking the present tense sentence, der Chef entlässt den Angestellten, the boss fires or is firing the employee. And the Futur I is saying the boss will fire the employee. So wird and then entlassen at the end. So entlassen is in its original form at the end because it's the second verb in the sentence, so you don't conjugate it. The boss will fire the employee. Well, the Futur II, we're saying the boss will have fired the employee. Well, the past tense of entlassen is entlassen. So the boss will. To fire someone is not a transitive verb, so we're using haben as the helping verb at the end. And then entlassen, that past tense form, comes before that helping verb at the end. So the boss will have fired the employee. And I shortened Angestellten to just an A, so I had room to write everything there. And the last one I'm going to show you with this one is kündigen, which means to quit or resign. So basic present tense, ich kündige, I resign or I quit. So Futur I is saying I will quit. So we've got conjugated form of werden, and then the infinitive of the verb kündigen to say I will quit. The Futur II is saying I will have quit. So ich werde, I will. To quit is not a transitive verb, so we're using haben as the helping verb. And the past tense of kündigen is gekündigt. Notice kündigen here is in blue, so it's a regular verb, so it's following the rules, the GE and the T at the end. Ich werde gekündigt haben. I will have quit. Okay, your turn to do some more of your verb slides. Viel Glück, and make sure you let me know if you have any questions.